Hello everyone, and welcome to Yoshi 1 Kenobi's Ugin Tribal Historic deck. Now in this deck, what we do is we want to play both Ugins, Ugin the Ineffable and Ugin the Spirit Dragon. And we want to play ramp to get to those big dragons. But we want to play it in red. Why do we want to play it in red? Well, one of the main reasons is for Irencrag feat. Irencrag feat, we pay 4, we add 7 red mana, which helps us to cast our Ugin Planeswalkers. Which means that we can cast Ugin on the Spirit Dragon for 5 mana, if we have an Irencrag feat. Now, the second reason why we play red is because red has some of the best removal in the format. Now that Amonkhet Remastered is out, we have access to Anger of the Gods. 3 mana, deal 3 damage to each creature, and exile them if they were to die. We also have access to 2 copies of Magmaquake, which is an instant speed removal for creatures and Planeswalker, which unfortunately hits our Planeswalker at the same time, but hey, it deals well with most threats that our opponents are opposing. Now, in terms of ramp, there is actually a lot of colorless ramp in Historic. We have Mind Stone, which is basically an untapped colorless artifact. So you pay 2 and it gives you 1 mana on the turn you play it. If you start to flood, you actually get to sacrifice it by paying 1 mana to draw a card. So it's ramp early, transfers into card advantage late game, which is very good. We have Guardian Idol, which got added in Jumpstart, and it's basically tap land. So you pay 2 mana for the Guardian Idol, and it enters tapped. But from this point on, you get to tap it for a colorless mana. You also get to pay 2 mana so that it becomes a 2/2 creature until end of turn. Now this is useful in attrition matchups. So a lot of times you'll trade resources with your opponent, and your opponent will have nothing, you'll have nothing, but these little mana rocks are suddenly attackers that will dodge sorcery speed board wipes, which is quite relevant. Also, you can use them to kill off Planeswalkers. A lot of times in control mirrors, your opponent is going to be playing a Planeswalker and assume you don't have much to deal with since you don't have any creature pressure. Suddenly you activate 2 Guardian Idols and boom, that Planeswalker is suddenly dead. We're also playing 2 Ratchet Bombs as some of our early removal that's very versatile against these aggressive strategies. You take it up to 1 to blow up. Well, on 0 it kills zombie tokens. Very relevant right now. On 1, you get to kill those pesky Siren Storm Tamers from Mono Blue, or some of these red deck wind cards, so it's just a very good colorless removal. We play 4 copies of Treasure Map. Now, we've said that Irencrag feat is a big ramp spell, but Treasure Map not only helps us to tune our draws with the scrying action, but it also, once we flip it over, gives us 3 treasures, which basically ramps us 3 mana in 1 turn. And if you go turn 2 Treasure Map, you can tick it up so that on turn 5, you activate it, flip it, and you suddenly have access to 8 mana, which also enables you to cast Ugin the Spirit Dragon, which is the key card of the deck, exiling everything your opponent has that has a color, very relevant. Also note that none of our permanents have a color. So all our mana rocks, all our removal, our treasure maps are all colorless. Ugin the Ineffable, the tokens made by Ugin the Ineffable are all colorless. On the 4-drop we're playing Karn because since we're playing so many artifacts, Karn's -2 is often put a 3/3, 4/4, even a 5/5 in play when you play it on turn 4. Well, 5/5 you pretty much need to blow up a treasure map into the treasure cove, but Karn fits very nicely in the deck. If your opponent's more of a control-ish opponent, the +1 will give you card advantage. If you're being pressured, then the -2 is going to put some pretty good blockers in play. And then your opponent has to choose whether to attack Karn or you. If they attack you, you have another creature. And then we play 2 copies of Ulamog because we're ramping big, and sometimes you need that card that will bypass counterspell and remove anything. In particular, the rest of the deck dies to Immortal Sun. We do have a pair of Ratchet Bombs, but taking them up to 6 is not really what you want to do. Also, getting to the 10 mana is relatively easy with this deck. Another advantage, if you have Ugin the Ineffable, everything that's colorless in the deck costs 2 less. So Ulamog goes to 8, these cards are free. A lot of good advantages to playing Ugin the Ineffable in this deck. In terms of land, 18 mountains. We need a critical mass of mountains to be able to cast Irencrag Feat. Playing 2 blast zones because they're ratchet, bomby type removal spells when you need them. 2 Field of Runes for those pesky Field of the Dead, and 2 Arcs of Araska just because against control you want to have another draw engine that doesn't really take a spot in your deck. And that is a competitive Ugin Tribal for Historic. Now let's see it in action. We are playing Ugin Tribal on MTG Arena Historic against KO VIP 5259. This is a pretty good hand. It's missing an Ugin, but short of that, we have a Mind Stone, we have treasure maps. It looks like our opponent is playing Field. Well, let's start with our Mind Stone. That looks like a Field of the Dead deck. I actually think we've played against this guy before. Yeah, it's the Karn Field of the Dead deck. Let's go double treasure map. Opponent keeps on exploring. So opponent's ramping faster than we are. It's okay. Oh well, there goes our Irencrag feat, in their hopes of outramping our opponent in one fell swoop. The zombies will show up swiftly. Ugin, that's pretty good. Let's play the blast zone. Opponent knows about it. We are on 5. We really just need to crack one of those treasure maps. Hour of Promise. Oh, that's the promise of zombies. Ugh. There goes our Spirit Dragon. So we will get to scry. That's a lot of zombies. Don't think Karn's good enough. Guardian the Idol certainly doesn't do it. So let's move on to our draw step. Magmaquake. Well, that one's helpful. 4, 5. Let's pass the turn. Here comes Field of the Dead number 3. More lands entering the battlefield at a constant rate. Fae of Wishes. What will it grant our opponent? Anything but Immortal Sun or Karn. Starting to ask for a lot of things now. Bolas' Citadel. I'm good with Bolas' Citadel. It's very tempting to just blow everything up here. I kind of want to activate the treasure maps. though leaving the Fae of Wishes alive. We have just enough mana to blow up the Fae of Wishes and all the zombies. But I think we want to take up the treasure maps. So Magmaquake for 2, and now that I've just reminded myself that Magmaquake doesn't target flying creatures, it makes the decision much easier. Karn's too slow. We need something bigger. And by bigger I don't mean a mountain. Alright, well, we still have a couple more scries. Ugin the Ineffable. That is decent. Yeah, that's good enough. Ugin the Ineffable. We will plus Ugin. We get an Anger of the Gods. Alright. You get a Resolve a Citadel. Although you're short 1 black, so you don't actually get a Resolve a Citadel. An Oracle of Muldaya. We're on top, so we're still safe. Opponent gets to attack our Ugin with the Fae of Wishes. We cannot block. Ugin will take a hit. We draw the Spirit Dragon. So we naturally drew exactly what we needed. So we'll take advantage of that. Ugin the Spirit Dragon for 6. Thanks to Ugin the Ineffable's cost reduction. That thing is for
not a destination.
Let's exile both your creatures. You get to sack your citadel for your Fae of Wishes if you wish. And you do wish. With a plane-wide celebration. Alright. Well, we will definitely plus Ugin. And we will attack you for 2. And pass the turn. Have 6 mana open, opponent will Fae of Wishes into an Immortal Sun. That's just 1 mana short of casting it. Opponent gets to Ugin. And that's the last copy of Field of the Dead. You get to resolve that. I want to truck art now. I want to scry. Well, I want to cry, but scrying is the next best thing. It's going to give us a land for next turn. We'll have 2 draws potentially. Opponent casts Fae of Wishes yet again. Doesn't really matter. Ugin's going to lose, so we will Ugin for 2. Get rid of that Fae of Wishes permanently. 1, 2, 3, 4. We will plus Ugin.
Truth lies beyond vision.
One, 2, 3, 4. We can take a Blast Zone 4. Let's go for the card draw. Land. Not helpful. Let's go for 1 more. By 1 more, I did not mean 1 more land. Not hit you for 4. And pass the turn back, which means this is the end of our planeswalking. You get to resolve your Immortal Sun. You also get to resolve an Uro. Uro from the graveyard. Ugh! A fabled passage. Opponent sacks the fabled passage. More zombies. Pick up the blast zone. Maybe I should have kept one of the treasure coves opened. That way we could have used the treasures to actually blow up the immortal sun. We could -0 Ugin, or this will do well. We can cast Ulamog, which also works fairly well, exiling the immortal sun and Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath. And having a real threat on the battlefield, since we get to -0 Ugin. Thank you, Ulamog and pair of Ugins. And that's how it's done. Because sometimes Ugin the Ineffable and Ugin the Spirit Dragon just don't do enough to win the game. That's when you bring in the big gun in Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger to exile whatever your opponent has in play. And that's enough to beat 4 Field of the Deads. We are playing Ugin Tribal on MTG Arena Historic against Undo. Very soon our opponent's not going to be Undo, but Undo, because this game is going to destroy him. As we have a Mind Stone, Anger of the Gods, and a pair of colorless Planeswalker. It's pretty good. Opponent is playing some red, so either Ugin Tribal or Goblins. Or Red Deck wins. Probably Goblins. Goblins it is. Called it! Mostly because I wasn't serious when I mentioned that our opponent would be playing Ugin Tribal. Let's open up with a Guardian Idol. It will be our little Guardian. Looking at us with that broad bronze sword. As our opponent keeps on stacking the treasures. Kinda want to play a Karn here. Let's show the blast zone. Play a Karn. Draw some cards that our opponent gets to choose. Guardian Idol or Mountain. Both are fine. This is going to be the legendary turn 4 Muxus into game. Snoop. Sack a treasure, played a matron. Not happy with that. Cranko. Opponent starts pecking away at Karn. Colorless mana, 4 Mind Stone. Play one more Mind Stone. With the Mind Stone. And Anger of the Gods! Exile everything. One is going to be with a ton of Krankos, so let's start by putting up a 4/4 construct on the battlefield. Opponent get hard cast a Krenko. 4, 5, 6, 7. We have a bunch of mana. Split Arc. Probably should have plussed Karn first.
Are you certain of your decision?
Well, I guess we're getting a treasure map. We will cast Ugin the Ineffable. We will blow up that Krenko. These Krenkos are scary. Then we will play the free treasure map. Thanks to Ugin the Ineffable's colorless spells you cast cost 2 less to cast. Then we'll hit our opponent for 5. Yeah, it's a real threat. Conspicuous Snoop. And that looks to be about it. Opponent will draw a land next turn. War Chief. Your stuff now has haste, which means the end of Ugin the Ineffable. Opponent swinging their option. Doesn't want to take too much beating from our 5/5. That's likely to grow. Our opponent will still take the beats on our planeswalkers. We will scry. We do not want a mountain. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's fine.
Please stop. I will seek other allies.
We want to scry. No, we don't want to scry. We want to draw. Magmaquake. I like Magmaquake. If I'm gonna Magmaquake, I might as well sack the Karn. I'll get a treasure map. Play this. Activate. I'll keep double red. Yeah, I'm still keeping double red. So, treasure map. Hit you for 6. Pass the turn back. Opponent's gonna Krenko. Opponent Krenkos. Opponent Woolly Goblins. With the trigger on the stack. We shall blow up everything. Yeah, let's blow up everything. X equals 4 shall do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. We want to keep our... Oh, X equals 3 is good enough. Yeah, there's no shenanigans our opponent can do. Our opponent's fully tapped out. So X equals 3. That way we get to take out both our treasure maps. Our token will live. Feel free to make goblins. Your goblins will die like all the other creatures you've had. You get a treasure token though. And we activate our treasure maps. Ratchet Bomb. Not really what we're looking for right now. Looking for a big gray planeswalker. Or Ulamog. Or just our opponent hitting the resign button. Actually we have lethal because our treasure map will blow up next turn. We can activate our Guardian Idol and swing for lethal. And that's how it's done with Ugin Tribal. Just punching around the Goblins deck and not caring too much about what they do. Because we anger the gods and Magmaquake as our big gray planeswalkers and artifacts win the game for us. We are playing Ugin Tribal on MTG Arena Historic against CAO VIP 5259. Well, someone mistook his password for his username. We have a treasure map, a Karn, and a Magmaquake. It's a little slow, but I think we can keep this on the draw. If we draw land, this is fine. If we draw one of the mana rocks, we're fine. Bujukabog. Presumably playing against a Field of the Dead deck. We'll open up with a mountain. Blast Zone. Have to be careful about that. But in the meantime, treasure map. Yeah, opponent's playing a lot of lands with different names, so that is presumably mono black or Field of the Dead. My guess will go against Field of the Dead. Cultivate, Island, Forest, Sultai Ramp? Sultai Ramp, Field of the Dead? Sultai Field. In the meantime, we have a Guardian Idol, which will allow us to cast a turn 4 Karn into a turn 5 Ugin. And here comes the Field of the Dead. We have confirmation. Well, we're about to have confirmation. Well, fetching a Feeble Passage is pretty neat. More Field of the Dead triggers. Mind Stone. Yeah, I like Mind Stone. Opponent has a pair of zombies. We get to Mind Stone Karn. Making a 4/4. Then I'll pass the turn. So opponent can make a ton of zombies here, which is probably going to force our Magmaquake. Yeah, that hurts like a truck. Activated abilities of artifacts your opponent control cannot be activated. Alright, so half of our deck is dead to that thing. Ugin can't hit it. The opponent has a horde of zombies. Alright, well we still have a way to deal with it. We can Magmaquake for X equals 2 and attack Karn. Yes, we will block. Opponent fetched Immortal Sun. Another problematic permanent that we cannot deal with. Alright, well. Our opponent really has our number. Let's plus Karn, because that's the only thing we can do. We're getting Guardian Idol. Oh, opponent gave us the mountain. Surprising. Yeah. Actually, if we X equals 3, we get to Magmaquake away the Karn. Let's do that. Magmaquake. Kill all the planeswalkers. Hit you for 4. And 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. An Ulamog would be a pretty good top deck. Really? Omniscience? You gotta be kidding! Yeah, I think that pretty much seals the game. Now we need like another Magmaquake.
Until you have this extent, my allies are counting on me.
Omniscience Karn Field of the Dead. God Pharaoh statue? So it's like a prison deck that plays zombies. Our Ugins are useless. We can't activate the ability of any of our artifacts. But we have an Arc of Vraska. I mean, that's something. We'll get to draw a card. But I see no card that would save us here. None at all. Let's go with the Arc and an extra draw step, and if we don't have anything, we'll resign. Oracle of Muldaya. We basically need to draw into our second Magmaquake. Basically followed by an Ulamog. Which are very, very specific asks. Alright, Field of Ruin. And Ugin the Spirit Dragon. Six. We need a way to deal with that Ugin. That Karn. No attacks. Opponent can hit us for 12. 13 with this. Opponent now has access to so much stuff. And everything is free. So everything is free and their opponent can play extra lands from the top of their library. Ritual of Suit's not going to help much. Opponent actually has to cast this one. Ritual of Suit. Play a land. Resolve Field of the Dead. We will jump. Well, actually, beat it. Okay, I'll take 9. You'll draw. Come on, Magmaquake. Not a Magmaquake. Not a Magmaquake. And we will resign. Omniscience, Karn, Immortal Sun. That's a pretty serious lock. We are playing Ugin Tribal on MTG Arena Historic against Shadowcat, or one Shadowcat, or is Hadao Cat. And we will keep this because it's a very fun hand if we draw one more mountain. Get a turn 2 Mind Stone into a turn 4 Irencrag Feet into Ugin. It's always nice. That's not nice though. Opponent might be playing mono blue tempo. Search for Sconsa. Okay, that's fine. Let's pass the turn and hope that we draw a non-Anger of the Gods card. Again, hopefully a mountain. Field of Ruins. Treasure map. It's not what I wanted to see. Let's cast our treasure map. One lets it resolve. I'll pass the turn back. Also, I guess our opponent's fully untapped mana in what looks to be a mono blue pure control shell. So we probably didn't want to try to cast something big. Unless it's an Ulamog. Ah, okay, Azorius control. And now we know. Sure, you can Narset.
I know 88 ways to defeat you. Pick one. Meditate and prepare.
Dovin's Veto. Well, we have one turn to draw our mountain. That is not a mountain. And we draw the mountain. Excellent. We get to Irencrag feet into Ugin the Spirit Dragon. And X's 3 is the name of the game. Exiling Narset, the token, and the search for Escanza.
This was overwhelming.
And now we're in good shape.
Return to the essence.
Mostly because our opponent has nothing, and we have Ugin. We had Ugin. So now the name of the game is we want to cast Ulamog. And we keep on drawing these angers of the gods against control, which really isn't where we want to be. But hey, it's not like our opponent is going to beat us down with their Castle Arvindale. Yeah, I do want lands. Even if it's just a mountain. And we'll pass the turn. That gives us 5/6. We will have access to 10 mana next turn, including the treasure map land and the 3 tokens. So we get to Ulamog, exiling the Castle Arvindale and the Banishing Light. Ooh, and we kind of have to hurry. Because our opponent's not giving us an infinite amount of time. Don't really want the Dead Guardian Idol. I'd rather have something bigger. Last zone works out fine. We shall Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger. Ulamog will exile the Banishing Light as well as Castle Arvindale. We will get Ugin, inner scary creature. We will ping you and pass the turn. Can you beat Ulamog and Ugin? Do we get to resolve an Ulamog attack and exile your Approach of the Second Sun? Or do we need to cast our 3 Anger of the Gods to rain fire on a battlefield? I mean, you can Banishing Light. One of those is gone. Pretty much have to deal with Ulamog. Then Ugin is going to be a problem. I think I prefer our situation here. Although I don't know what our opponent has in hand. I'm hoping it's 3 Dovin's Veto to match our hand. Let's start with the Ulamog attack. Exile 20 cards. There goes Approach of the Second Sun. Sure, you can seal him away for a very brief moment. Our trigger still resolves. We've hit Banishing Light, Approach. We've hit 2 approaches. I suspect our opponent's not playing too many of those. We will exile that seal away. Getting back our Ulamog of Ceaseless Hungers. Let's draw a card. I like drawing cards. Let's play our mountain, pass the turn. We'll also have Arc of Oraska on our turn. So as long as our opponent doesn't naturally draw into an Approach of the Second Sun, we should win the game. And our opponent resigns in the face of Ulamog and Ugin, the duo you do not want to face. We are playing Ugin Tribal Historic on MTG Arena against Kane. We have a fair hand, we will keep this. We have some removal spells, a huge ramp that will enable us to play an undercosted Ugin. But in the meantime, we get beaten down by a Goblin Pirate. Almost looks like a monkey. Steamkin, the more classic approach. We'll take a beating from the Fanatic Firebrand. don't really see any reason to cast our Anger of the Gods yet. Worst case scenario, can always Irencrag feet into a Magmaquake for X equals 5. I'm trying to get a little bit more value out of the Anger of the Gods. Plus, their opponent only has burn spells. Though, yeah, smells like a light up the stage. Opponent finds a Chain Whirler, as well as a land for the turn. We are skewered as a critic. Opponent passes the turn. Alright. I'll go with the Magmaquake approach. X equals 5. Make sure that everything is killed dead. Maybe I should have cast the Anger of the God on turn 3. And I'll pass the turn back. Yeah, that would have been a pretty big blowout if we had tried the Anger. Chain Whirler is going to be a blowout, but for our opponent. Because we get to Ugin the Spirit Dragon. And we get the plus to deal with all of our opponent's last turn. Opponent would need 3 burn spells to deal with Ugin. If our opponent has that, they should probably aim them at our face. Which I'm hoping is not going to be the case. Lava Runner. Going face. No, 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 no. Don't burn us. We are a turn away from gaining 7 life, drawing 7 cards and sealing away the game. And we will not make it because our opponent will burn us down to the ground. Alright. We're still alive.
Do not threaten me.
You want to keep Blast Zone on 1. Alright, we need land. We need the life total. Ugin Ultimate. And we get to play 7 permanents. Ugin, Scion, land, 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 land. Alright, that's good enough. Out of reach, out of minds, and that's how it's done with Ugin the Spirit Dragon Tribal deck. We are playing Ugin Tribal on MTG Arena Historic against Art 1. We have a treasure map, a blast zone against a Lurus deck. Let's keep this. It's not optimal. Ooh. What is this? Aura's deck? Azorius Auras, probably. Let's go with that assumption. So let's start with Mountain, pass the turn. Azorius Auras it is. Let's not reveal our blast zone quite yet, but instead open up a treasure map. Staggering Insight, card draws. Opponent hits us, draws a bunch of cards. Have a Ratchet Bomb. Is Ratchet Bomb too slow? I think it's fine. Puts us much ahead on our actual game plan. Opponent's considering putting an aura on the Ornithopter, which we would ironically be able to blow up immediately. Opponent decides to go on the core Spirit Dancer instead. 6/8 Vigilance. Will hit us. We will activate the treasure map. Mindstone's decent. Put a counter on Ratchet Bomb. Is our opponent just going to be able to kill us for 11? Selfless Savior. Alright, well that'll partially force the issue. Build Blast Zone. We'll play... 1, 2, 3, 4... Actually, Ratchet Bomb is going to be the bait. I think we'll want Ratchet Bomb for 1, then we have 3, 4, 5, -1, +3, +1. Yeah, we'll be able to Ugin next turn. Off of the treasure map. So what we'll want to do is blow up the Ratchet Bomb for 1, which will kill the Selfless Savior, as well as the Sentinel's Eyes. Which means that we'll get to live 1 turn, then we'll cast Ugin, which will exile everything, save the Ornithopter. Opponent moves to combat. Blow up the Ratchet Bomb. We take 8 to go down to 3. Which means we're likely to die to the Ornithopter next turn. Which is quite sad. I don't think we can escape from that. Alright, second Spirit Dancer. Still think we have to go for it. Karn's not really helpful here. Draw for turn. Mountain treasure map activate. Another treasure map. Not really what we're looking for. I'm not sure what we're looking for really. Ugin the Spirit Dragon. Crack everything. -2. Exile everything except the 0/2 flyer that's been sitting idle on the battlefield, and that's gonna win the game. Yeah. Good game. Ugin, you are powerful, but you need to be able to to deal with 0 drops. Come on. Make your attack. I don't have time for this. And we've lost an Ornithopter. Colorless 0 drops are too powerful for Ugin. Oh well. Ugins are pretty good at dealing with other stuff. We are playing in We are playing Ugin Tribal Historic on MTG Arena against Kane. We have a fair hand, we will keep this. We have some removal spells, a huge ramp that will enable us to play an undercosted Ugin. But in the meantime, we get beaten down by a goblin. Goblin pirate. Almost looks like a monkey. Steamkin, the more classic approach. You'll take a beating from the Fanatic Firebrand. Don't really see any reason to cast our Anger of the Gods yet. Worst case scenario, we can always Irencrag feet into a Magmaquake for X equals 5. I'm trying to get a little bit more value out of the Anger of the Gods. Plus, our opponent only has burn spells. Though, yeah, smells like a light up the stage. Opponent finds a Chain Whirler, as well as a land for the turn. We are skewered as a critic. Opponent passes the turn. Alright. I'll go with the Magmaquake approach. X equals 5. Make sure that everything is killed dead. Maybe I should have cast the Anger of the God on turn 3. And I'll pass the turn back. Yeah, that would have been a pretty big blowout if we had tried the Anger. Chain Whirler is going to be a blowout, but for our opponent. Because we get to Ugin the Spirit Dragon. And we get the plus to deal with all of our opponent's last turn. Opponent would need 3 burn spells to deal with Ugin. If our opponent has that, they should probably aim them at our face. Which I'm hoping is not going to be the case. Lava Runner. Going face. No, 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 no. Don't burn us. We are a turn away from gaining 7 life, drawing 7 cards and sealing away the game. And we will not make it because our opponent will burn us down to the ground. Alright. We're still alive.
Do not threaten me.
You want to keep Blast Zone on 1. Alright, we need land. We need the life total. Ugin Ultimate. And we get to play 7 permanents. Ugin, Scion, land, 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 land. Alright, that's good enough. Out of reach, out of minds, and that's how it's done with Ugin the Spirit Dragon tribal deck. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe by clicking the Yoshi icon at the right of your screen. It doesn't cost you any mana, and it greatly helps to support this channel and keep the awesome videos coming.